Hey, welcome back to another episode from Life for Living Well. My name is Richard. Before I dive into the topic that I have for us this week, I'd like to say if you'd like to receive articles or blog regarding any of the topic that we present every week, you can find it out on our community website at www.lifeforlivingwell.com. If you're also so busy that you don't have enough time and you would like to know when the article is released or published, you can sign up on the website by just register with your email and you will be the first to receive the article whenever we publish it in the week. I hope this message helps someone, so let's dive into it. So this week, the topic is so big that I can actually present it in 4 series or episodes, but because of the context of the different topics that I have for this month, I'm going to just concise it to one single message. And that's why I say if you like to see the comprehensive part of this message, it will be much better if you can get it from the community website. So the topic for this week is what we call the great signs of maturity. How do we know someone is mature? Apart from seeing someone with their physical attributes or with their gray hair or with the way they talk, we can presume that they mature. That is physical side of maturity. But the maturity that actually make difference is our daily interaction with others, our connections with our affluences. So these are the things this topic wanted to explore, and I want you to come with the journey with me. So as you normally do, we normally take one inspirational individual and use their words to build around it. So this week I'm using the word of Elisabeth Kubler-Ross. How does she define maturity? So she put it this way: learning lessons is a little like reaching maturity. You are not suddenly more happy, witty, or powerful, but you understand the world around you better and you are at peace with yourself. Learning life lesson is not about making your life perfect, but about seeing life as it was meant to be. She's absolutely right. She put everything into that words and is actually summarized the whole message that I'm trying to deliver this week. So right now, I will try to build with the constraints of our time. So if you think about it, we are all often guilty by trying to relate to maturity simply because how old a person is. But is this a healthy way to measure a person's maturity? By law, there's a certain age where the law holds you accountable in the society. And it wasn't defined that based on maturity, it defined based on your age and what is expected of that particular age. But in reality, it doesn't work that way. So we all values we can bring into the tables. Every human being have things that they can bring on the tables. The question is, it could be pleasant values or it can easily be a miserable one. It depends the one you experience with the people you have contact with. So, in some culture, aging is a sign of wisdom, and as a result, it easily attracts respect, admonition, and adornment for that society. But if you dig down, if you spend the time with most of these older generation, older people, the reality, it may not be the case. They might not be the most wisest people. What turns somebody become wise is ability to transcend your experience into knowledge. And when you become knowledge, ability to dispose it the way you live your life and how it affecting other people. Someone that have anger issues, that they refuse to work on it when they are teenager, they became adult, they refuse to work on it, and they became adult, they still the same person. They got older more in age, and they still become the same person because again they refuse to work on themselves. So regardless the age they find themselves, if they are unable to manage their anger, what do you think will happen? It can become self-destructive for them. It will affect their relationship. It will also affect the quality of life they themselves may have enjoyed. So the question is, why maturity matters? We know that it matters because it creates an environment of growth, and it also allows this individual to accommodating differences of opinions and views. Think about politics today. Our politics is just like a cult-like approach where individual choices of lifestyle can suddenly become a threat for others. So in the midst of this, the wider question we could ask, what mature society should feel like. So I refuse to say what mature society look like. I wanted to challenge us to go deeper, to not try to use intellect to solve intelligent problem, to connect all our five senses, in some cases our six, into it, by stop and ask what a mature society should feel like. So many people seem to be mature in age, as I said in the beginning of this podcast, but they are low in maturity in character, emotional, and what happened? We can see the increases in narcissistic leaders. We've seen people and exhibiting self-absorbed behaviors, which actually make the relationship go up and down. So what then happens when you meet individuals that are mature, that are able to manage this element of woman being character in a way that is not exploiting other people, we feel good among those individuals. And it doesn't matter the age where somebody demonstrates this level of maturity. You can relate with them. Our experiences should be an ingredient that contributes to maturity. That can only happen if we decided to embrace it and learn from it. In reality, many people are not able to do that. That's why we keep repeating the same thing again and again and again and again. Because of lack of capacity or willingness to learn from oneself and others' mistakes. And it is important to prioritize learning from our experience, learning from other people's experience, because as much as we love to live long to 1,000 years, we will never be able to do so. As long as we want to experience so many things, we will never be able to do so, because each day provides its own experiences for us, provides its own challenges, and how we react to it is always a choice that we make, whether we take a second to slow down or we jump to it. And one of the excuses people give themselves in behaving bad way is to say, I am like that. It's because they are not able to look into the beast in the eyes and realize that, yes, I behave this way, but I can work to change it. And that is the difficult one, because it means it takes them away from their comfort zone and it puts them in a place that they have to take responsibility and it's not comfortable. So, how we know a great sign of maturity? It is not what they say or written on their forehead, but simply how they lead their life. And you can see how they live their life, the impact it has on their life, and how they impact other people that come in contact with them. So, let's now get into the great sign of maturity. And if you do find yourself have one or two of these signs, I want to say congratulations and keep it good work. Number one on my list is endurance. One of many qualities that individuals with maturity possess in their approach is endurance. And there is things that develop endurance in a person. It's mostly to be with creating environment where you develop your endurance, whether you take up a challenging sport or you expose yourself to things that actually stretch you. And the more you do that, the more your body, your brain absorb it. And that trickle down to other parts of our life, in a sense that it's not how many times we fall, it's how often we rise when we find ourselves flat on the floor. But what I've seen, I've come across people that are really afraid of failure, really afraid of disappointment, so they never try. And if I ask you, if you have to choose between someone that's willing to push and someone that also willing to throw it up, Who would you like to go with? So it often comes from how you deal with challenges and pains. It requires often putting oneself out of comfort zone, either physically, mentally, and emotionally. What many people do when this emotional pain comes is to run. Even the physical pain is to stop. But the more we embrace a pain to the point where we can manage it, the better we become with it. And number 2, values. So what did I mean by values? We live in the world that is largely transactional. What can you give me? What can I get? But when your life is lived based on values, your concept is totally different. The way you approach things is different. You mostly approach things from win-win situation. Not I win, you lose. And these values may be something come from how we are raised or our religious doctrine. Majority of this value is something that we need to develop by ourselves based on the choice of life that we want to live. So you see these people that demonstrate maturity, they do tend to take a lot of responsibility for their own behavior. And if you just see someone taking responsibility for their own actions and behavior, you have to look beyond that action that they have taken. Behind all those things is integrity. Which is very seem to be lacking in majority of people today. People don't tend to keep to what they say they want to do. They let their emotions driven them, influence them most of the time. So, values like resourcefulness, honesty, and many more. And this value also range from loyalty. Some people value this a lot. When they now find themselves with a friend that they find that is not loyal, it's really difficult for them to keep on with that, pretending that they are okay with it. Friendship. People that value friendship, they don't just have it on their contact list. They take action. They reach out to their friends. They accommodate them. They create time to do things together. People say, oh, I have a friend, but they've never actually seen this friend for a long, long time. The only time they see them is their contact list. And if you are a person that value friendship, you have to be friendly. And out of friendliness is more action, not thinking. Family oriented. Somebody that value family. It is impossible for this kind of person to spend 7 days in a week be chasing money and not able to spend time with their family. Their priorities are driven by their values. They take care of their needs and they create time for their family because they value it a lot. So, the question is, what is your values as you listen to me this evening? You might not share any of these values that I stated, and that is okay. There's many values, and most of our values is influenced by the environment we are raised, by the culture we grow up from, and the kind of exposure we have ourselves, either through the education or travel. So, what is your values? And are you living based on your values? Is your values your principle? Is it become inspiration for you? What influence does it have in you? So these are the questions you have to ask yourself, because sometimes, unknown to us, we might actually be living all this year against our own values. We like respect, but we are associated with friends that are so disrespectful to everyone around them. And we thought that they are funny and we're just laughing. But deep down, we feel empty. But we just smile because we just want to have a friend. But there is a clash in values. You value balance, you value fairness, but your friend value blind loyalty. And when you're supposed to speak the truth, if you're driven by your values, there's no way you and your friend are going to be clash, because your friend wants you to be loyal to them. But you look at the situation, you find it very unfair, and fairness is something that is so important to you. Then you will clash. So, without spending more time on values, so let's move to the third one on the list, acceptance. So what is this? This is what I actually think, like when you really want to know someone that have worked on themselves and that have reached the level of maturity, psychologically, emotionally, they tend to accept things that they do not have control about. A lot of people fool themselves thinking everybody is thinking about them or worry about them, so they easily feel embarrassed about what people say. Many years ago, one of the steps that I took to overcome public embarrassment is to take up a public speaking. So I used to go to this club once a week in Mavon where they do public speaking. So you have a topic and you stand in front of total stranger and you just have to say things that come out from your mouth without really worrying whether somebody judging you. Because the question I always tell people, do you know that person's middle name? And in reality, they don't. And why will you worry so much about the person's judgment to you? We all like to be liked. We all like people to appreciate us. But in reality, everyone you have their own problem. And most of the time, they actually worry about their own problem more than they worry about you. And so what happens when people refuse to let go is to resist the thing that they think that they have no control about it. But the mature person have reached to a stage in their life that they are less reactive to things they have control over, but more proactive in most of their interactions in dealing with others. Because there's a lot of things that you don't have control about. You don't have a control how somebody think or what they think about you. You might try to present image of what you want them to see and control it. But in reality, you have no control how they feel, what they think, or what they say. One of the sources of pain for many people is their attachment to the outcome and desire. Able to accept how things are in the moment rather than how you wish it could be. It's a source of relief to stress and anxiety in a lot of situations. So acceptance is a practice as well. And these are the qualities that I've seen with the individual that demonstrate maturity. Because you have to experience a lot of things to get to this stage at point in life where you're able to accept the things you have no control over. And that takes me, as I'm running out of the time, that takes me to the next point on the list, is critical thinking. We live in a time where people easily want to belong to the group. Sometimes people find it difficult to ask difficult questions, and they chose the easy option by becoming lazy and obediently follow authority blindly. A mature person will never be in these shoes. They can say it, and they are not timid to ask difficult questions. So that takes me to the next on the list, intentional. So you are not just waiting for opportunity to fall onto your laps. Sometimes you decided what you want to happen and you go out to make it happen. That's part of being mature. You take responsibility for your own actions. And in most things, they are very intentional. And the next point on my list is called experiences. Wow, this one is something I can testify a lot. Many people would like to experience a lot of things, but the condition they always put to it is also an excuse not to do it. Somebody would like to travel, but the reason why they can't travel is because they don't have the money. But they haven't even tried to explore their local community. They don't even know what is going on in nearby town or city to them. They haven't seen the museum there. They haven't go and see the art gallery. They haven't seen the lake. They haven't do any of those things. But they were dreaming of travel to Japan, China, and they need £10,000 to do the trip. But a mature person prioritizes experience. And when it comes to experience, it could be a package in a way that when you have to choose between experience something or thinking about the pleasure, stay in 5-star hotel, fly in first-class plane, eating in first-class restaurants, you probably might need a lot of money to do that. But if it's the experience that you really prioritize, it doesn't have to cost you a lot to make it happen. If you ever take a walk in the evening in winter time and look up and try to differentiate between the natural star, the moon, and the satellite. Satellites are becoming smaller in size today, but they're still unique among the stars. How many people walk and notice the sign of a supermarket close to them? They don't even know it's there. They don't even know the color the house they live paint because they're always in their heads. So it's a challenge. Part of the things that being mature teach us is prioritize experience. These people, they often prioritize experience above leisure or acquisition of material items. And sometimes we get blown away where we see social media where some people try to display their wealth, their status, their achievement. But you'll be surprised that majority of wealthy people are very simple individuals and they mostly prioritize experience above anything else. And lastly, giver. So being mature is also an opportunity where you see this individual that they prioritize being giving. And this is not a rocket science. Why did I say that? Often many people focus on what they do not have. And when you begin to give, your mindset change. You come from the place of abundance, and at the end, you create more abundance. Because whatever you give, it returns back to you in many folds. It's not the same single seed of flower you put on the ground that come out. It come out with a load of flowers when the time comes. So mature individuals, regardless of their age, create a room for giving, whether to share experience, whether to teach, whether to exchange knowledge, or even money. So this is the quality of a great sign of being mature. And finally, as I'm bringing this to the end, I'm already 2 minutes overrun. So this topic deserves multiple parts because of the content to cover in one single part. Each day we provide an opportunity for growth, but as always, it depends on you, what you want to do with it. Such an opportunity could show up as difficulty or give a bit of your time to others. Are you willing to embrace it? It being mature is important to you. You have to take challenge as a teacher. So, I encourage you to be intentional in growing yourself. If you already have one or two of these great signs, I want to say once again, congratulations. If you are lacking in any of those, work on yourself, work on it. And like a practice, you become better with time. Until we meet again next week, please have a wonderful time and stay safe and look after others as well. Ciao.